We may not realize it, but fear plays a huge role in the world of politics. Think about the last time you voted. And let's be honest, have you ever voted for something specifically because you were worried about what would happen if the other side won? Well, I spoke with Seattle University political science professor Marco Lowe for some insight. I think this is a question that may be a little bit triggering for some, but do you believe that fear plays a role in politics?
Absolutely. People fear that if the other side were to win, it would dramatically change their country, their community, their personal lives. And then within campaigns, fear is a powerful motivator. You are afraid you're going to lose to the other candidate or the measure will be defeated or passed. So fear runs through the whole world of politics like a river.
And so that's what really motivates people to, put out signs and to be a part of a political campaign.
Absolutely. You're trying to evoke change or thwart change that the other side might do as much as what you're hoping your side will do.
Right. What examples of fear in politics have we seen lately?
I think we saw a turnout surge in the 2020 presidential election. President Biden got 80 million votes. We saw just 4 years earlier, the two candidates were in the 60 million. I think people were more voting out of fear of a second President Trump term, just as much as you saw President Trump have a really high vote count as well above his 2016 victory number, because his own supporters were afraid of a Biden presidency.
So we saw a surge in voters due to that fear. What about on the local level? Have we seen that impact maybe recently?
Sure. I think the Seattle races showed that there was a fear in certain segments of the city over the direction of the city or the current policies of the city. And folks turned out and did quite a political shift in the city over one night.
Can we recognize when fear is impacting politics?
I think it's always there. It'd be hard to envision, at least in the modern era, a world where voters and campaigns are talking in ways that you could acknowledge both sides have a good point, but my side might be a little better. We really work in a polarized political environment where all communication is almost a catastrophic event should the other side win. So fear is just from the beginning to end. And I don't think it's healthy for our country or even the people who are engaged in politics.
So is there a world where fear cannot impact politics? Is that even possible?
I think it is possible. I think we see elections in other countries that are much more a discussion of the issues. It's not a hysterical message of what the other side would be. And you really are debating what is a substantial issue, but isn't going to decide the future of your nation.
How can we, as citizens, as voters, maybe allay some fears we have? I think that, every time we do fear a candidate, it's maybe never as great as we hoped, or maybe never as bad as we hoped. So how can we as a voter calm those fears?
I think being informed. I think every voter, starting with me, could benefit from really understanding the issues better and understand what the other side is trying to achieve. We often really want to do what we call confirmation bias. We think this is true, so we're going to find the candidate that also thinks the same thing. I think we would all do better hearing what the other side, what their values are, what they're really trying to achieve, rather than just what my side tells me they believe.
Do you think that there's a point in history, in American history, that fear maybe changed the course of our nation?
I think post 9/11, we had a nation that was very much reacting to the attacks in New York and the Pentagon and the plane that crashed. And we watched that fear not only, really help, the Republican Party, but also led us into two wars.
Can fear ever have a positive impact on the government or on politics?
I think if there is truly a threat, and the voters are reasonably and accountably fearful of that threat, absolutely. I think if people were to look at climate change and say, we have to act now, so that when we act down the road, it's not harder and there's already so many deaths and damage done, I think that would be an example of really trying to address something early based on fear. Unfortunately, we don't really talk that way in American politics. It's really what's happening right now.
Do you think that politicians use fear to motivate their voters quite often?
Yes, absolutely yes, all the time.
Thanks to Marco for that. All good things to think about the next time you vote.